I kind of set things up differently over here. Excuse me. I set it up that way. It gives me more access to this. Come on, man. The mad. The mad. What is up? I think the key to playing stuff like that is develop your touch. Develop your touch. There are a few basic things like if you're going for speed, this is a really good one. If you're sitting there playing, if you're just spazzing out like that, just spazzing out, because sometimes you gotta let it out. Don't let anybody fool you. It is good to spaz out. It helps you organize your thoughts and your ideas. But as soon as you, or even if you're just practicing like this, the moment it starts getting kind of sort of tense, usually if you're warming up, warm, like shake it out. you know. Or if you're playing in the middle of something, if you're practicing, shake it out. Now, you might think, why should I shake it out? If I'm on a gig, I'm not going to be able to shake it out. No, you're not going to be able to shake it out. But what you're doing is you're training yourself to not play so tense. You're training yourself to play relaxed. What happens is you'll find that eventually, something in my throat. But yeah, what happens is you'll find that eventually over time, you'll be able to play longer. You'll be able to play longer and longer without feeling tense, you know, until you can play, you can just walk up and sit down on a kit, and you've unlearned yourself out, you know, this is what I had to go through. You know, I had to unlearn a lot of bad habits. One bad habit was straining to play fast. And this is how I got out of it. You might overwork in areas like trying to develop your sense of polyrhythm or whatever. But whatever, this concept applies to everything, you know. Once you stress out over it, how it applies is once you stress out over it, just let it go. And then come to it fresh with a new approach, you know. And eventually, if you keep doing that, over time, you'll build a tolerance to a lot of stuff, and you'll start figuring a lot of stuff out. So that concept applies to everything. I hate that, guys. I'm sorry. I keep leaving the mic on, the talkback mic. That is it's a John McLaughlin tune. It's just like. surprised I remember all that. It's really exhausting to just blast out stuff like that. I mean, it's easy, but it's exhausting. You know, it's easy. It's simple to do. Well, to me, it's just exhausting. It takes a lot of exertion. I'm just a lazy dude, to be honest. But the way that song was played, it has to be played like that. It's played like that. You know. And then the sax is like. Another drum break. Boom, 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 boom. Then it goes into this Latin thing. It's a John McLaughlin tune. The tune is ridiculous. And I saw him do that live. And the whole band was just Matthew Garrison. If you know music, you know these names. Matthew Garrison. Matter of fact, Matthew Garrison, his father is Joe Garrison, who played with Coltrane. He was the bass player for Coltrane. He's a just well-known bass player. He runs like a jazz spot. It's like an interactive jazz spot in New York. And I think he also teaches in Berkeley. But him, Matthew Garrison, Dennis Chambers, of course, John McLaughlin is his band. Jim Baird, who worked with everybody, he did like Dennis Chambers, not Dennis, he did John Scofield's Blue Matter, Loud Jazz, Pick Hits. I know he definitely did those three. And I think he did two more with John McLaughlin. He did the one with Terry Lynn Carrington on drums when she was playing with not John McLaughlin, John Scofield. But yeah, that song is ridiculous. He's got another song with, and what I like about John McLaughlin, he gets you when you're young and nobody knows who you are. Like he got Dennis Chambers pretty young. Before anybody even knew who he was, he definitely got, and he did swaps, man. You know, Dennis didn't come out with his own solo stuff till years later, but he did a swap with Hadrian Farrow. Hadrian Farrow was like maybe 19, but he was playing like he was 50 years old. That's how, he was incredible. Like bass flurries and all, like ridiculous. And it's funky. And just, it's dark and funky, you know. But yeah, he's got a song called For Jocko. And when I heard it, I was like, who the heck is this? I was like, this dude sounds like Jocko on steroids. And I love Jocko. Like I bought his last video. It was on a VHS, and it had a matching book with a cassette. And maybe 2 months after I bought that, he died. He was murdered. So I love Jocko. I love everything about Jocko. I was a bass player before I was a drummer. So I was a guitarist, then I was a bass player. No, guitarist, piano, then bass player. I was playing guitar, and then I started playing piano, and then my friend wanted to learn how to play the bass. So I said, buy a bass. He was my freestyle buddy, my BMX buddy. Like I used to have a half pipe in my backyard, all that stuff. Huge. Like the house I grew up in was huge, with a huge backyard. But I told my boy, he was like, I want to learn how to, because we would ride, we'd have a practice session, we'd have a riding session, and I would let a few people in my basement. My basement was like the hangout because it was like an Ampeg bass amp. I had a little Marshall combo amp with an Epiphone. It was a fake ES335 Epiphone, and it was a red one. And then I didn't have a guitar though. I had the amp. This dude named Billy Dark, he owed me money. And I was like, you owe me something. And it wasn't no violence, it wasn't no nothing. It was an understanding. Like, it was an understanding. I gave it back to him. So he was like, bro, you can have it. And because he used to leave it at my house. And I was like, man. And he owed me like $250. No, $230. $237, something like that. And he was like, you can have it, bro. I was like, nah, dog. I don't like that. I'll take the L. I ain't gonna die. I ain't missing a meal, so But that's how I learned how to play. My boy, we would take breaks and come to my basement and hang out, and I would practice while they taking a breather and getting something to drink. And eventually, he was like, yo, man, can I learn how to play bass? I said, buy a bass, and I'll teach you how. He was like, all right. He bought a bass. I said, well, let me hold it for like a week. He said, all right. So he ended up leaving it at my house anyway. He bought, he had like 4 basses, and 2 of them he left at my house. With he had a little small combo amp, a Galen Kruger, and he had a Fender Rumble. But yeah, so he came, I took it for a week, and I learned a bunch of Yes songs and a bunch of Rush songs. I learned a bunch of Chris Squire and Geddy Lee. And I taught my boy how to play bass. And then I was like, ever since then, I was like, oh, I guess I'm a bass player too. And then I ended up like coming to Atlanta. And before I got any drum gigs, I had bass gigs. I was playing in a gospel group. First, I was playing in church. And then I was playing in this neo soul group, which was fire. That band was smoking. But like, the musical kind of tides changed, so, And then I was playing, but that one led to a gospel artist that I was working with, this guy named Jay Evans. And then after that, I left them and I just started playing drums. I started playing drums in church, and outside of church, same thing happened. I started playing drums. I started getting drum gigs and stuff, so, that's why I love it down here in Atlanta. Like, you can hustle, man. If you're a musician, you can hustle. You could get it. Swing fills, yo, check it. It's all basically triplet based. I'll show you. That's what I try to keep it as basic as possible. This is a good exercise if you want to, like, it helps with swing, and it also helps with 4-way independence. That right there. I mean, you want to keep the roll as simple as possible. Most times you don't go past 3 notes, you know. You know, if you notice, the ideas I was trying to create were on the ride. I don't hold a hard, fast pause rule of saying, well, only do it, only tap out. Like I've heard people say, only tap out your, express your ideas on the ride symbol. That's good, but you don't want to trap yourself in that. You want to mix it up, Same thing. Again. Because you want it to swing. That's just basic, the most basic straight ahead. I really don't like to play a lot of like fills. When I'm playing straight ahead, the fills are more accents. You know what I mean? Or there might be something if a saxophone is soloing. They might be playing something. They might be coming up with some kind of motif. I might go. You know what I mean? Just like, you might just kind of like, because what it does is like, okay, the person who's playing is like, I have an idea. And, okay, he caught on to the idea. And then a lot of times that kind of spurs on the soloist to go in a completely different direction. Or that'll be a launch pad to help them take it to another level. You just got to know when to not do it. Or know when to kind of like, I might though. You know what I mean? I might do it a couple times to kind of let them know, yeah, I hear you. So it's like, it's comforting when you're soloing. Somebody's in you with it. Like they feeling okay. They know where I'm trying to go. It's the support that you want to kind of give the soloist or even the singer. Now you got to know that singer style or that soloist style and know if that's what they like. Some don't like it. Some just want you to swing. That might be too much. You know what I mean? Like just basic, but that's your job. So it is what it is. Now you could get like the kind of, it's jazz. It's got more of a fusion energy to it. Which is this right here. playing kind of sloppy, especially with these Yeezy slides on. But that's kind of like the fusion more, that's kind of like, that's the fusion-y stuff, where you want the energy of rock and roll, and which that's really like Elvin Jones. Elvin Jones brought the whole high energy rock, loud and punch you in the face kind of drumming. And it's crazy. I had been chasing that for a while. And it was weird because I auditioned for it was an instrumental hip hop band. It had kind of like a electronic, rock edge, which was cool because at the time I was making dance music and EDM. You know what I mean? Well, it's dance, EDM, same thing. But I was making EDM, so, and I make them kind of, I'm used to practicing to them, so whatever. So they sent me the tracks and I just blended right in. And then it was certain parts where they were like, we want a drum solo right here. And I played like this ridiculous solo. And then the guy, their engineer, some older like white guy with glasses, little short guy. I don't know who he is, but he really knows what he's talking about. I ended up working with him in the studio, but I can't remember his name. I worked with him like maybe 2 times. Like the first time, it was like maybe I played like maybe two or three takes. That's all it took. And then they were freebies, And another time, he came through our rehearsal spot and he set up a recording rig, a mobile rig, and we recorded that. But he was like, "Yo, man, I like the way you play." I've always been self-conscious about how I play. He was like, "I like the way you play." I was like, "Why?" He said, "Look, because I don't have to compress the daylights," and that's not what he said. "I don't have to compress the daylights out of the overheads to get to hear you." And he named names. I'm not going to name them. He named names. Some pretty well-known drummers that have come out of Atlanta. If you Google it, drummers that have come out of Atlanta, or like, if you Google it, he was naming names, and he was like, "You're not like such and such and blah, 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 and Joe, and like, I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You have the power and energy of rock, but you've got the technique of jazz. Like you have your style and your technique is like jazz, but you've got the power and the energy of rock." And in my mind, I was like, "Okay, I've been chasing that for years. I made it. Wow." Because I always thought it was a bad thing, to be honest. Because that's my foundation. It's rock. Sabbath and Ozzy and Rush, a lot of Rush. All their albums, except that first one. All of their albums, even the bootlegs, all the way up to Signals. Yeah, all the way up to Signals. So, I could go into that. That's too much. This how Neil constructed his solos. I could break all that down. It's just too much. I'm a drum nerd, but sometimes I don't want to hear myself talk about that. Double rolls? What do you mean, like double bass rolls? Or like this? Or like this? Do everything that your feet can do with your hand. Everything your hands can do with your feet. If your hands do this, then do this. Or they do this, then you do this. If they do this, then you do this. Oops. You know what I mean? You just... I don't know. That's how I see it, you know. And sometimes I'll just do this. A lot of times I'll just sit and while I'm watching somebody stream. I don't do that like when I don't live stream that because nobody would be in here. You guys would be like, he's nuts. What's wrong with him? Is he having a stroke? Like, you wouldn't be around. But I'll just sit here. You know what I mean? And just tweak until my leg is sore. I don't do it as much as I used to. I used to do it like quite regularly. I do it now at least 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. I'm worn out. I went to a concert last night. Trombone Shouty. A band out of my wife is from New Orleans. It was wild. I always wanted to marry a woman from New Orleans. That's what was wild. Before I even met my wife, I always used to go down there, even when I was a kid. You know, so I always felt an attachment. I realized years later the attachment was my wife. To be honest, you know, so. But don't know about any of that. Dang, man. Never mind. Dang, man. Now I'm barefoot, and I hate playing barefoot. I like Vans. You know what I mean? I like Vans. I used to always play like Shelto of Adidas. I got a pair of Vans over there. Or the Nike SBs. Or the Pumas. The Nipsey Hussle Pumas. Those are perfect because they're comfortable, they're stylish, and then the soles are perfect for like drum pedals. Vans are the all-around best one in terms of the Van. I don't know, man. It's hard because Nike SBs are good too. The Nike SB skateboard joints, those are good. I've never learned. I don't know, man. I think I have to play on the balls of my feet. You know. I haven't started. I haven't played double bass for almost 2 decades. Almost 2 decades. Yeah. Just I've never needed it. Like the situations I've been in. Number one, it was never available. Number two, we've never needed it. You know, for the kind of music I was playing. I've been down here, I don't know, it was longer than that, even before I came down here. When I was in Brooklyn, I was playing jazz. When I was in Jersey, I was playing either hip-hop or like Jamiroquai type stuff. You know. And then the stuff before that was rock, you know. Well, I say the stuff before that, I mean, two years into my playing, I stopped using double bass. You know. And I've been playing for 49 years. So you do the math. The thing about Smells Like Teen Spirit, Dave Grohl, he got the inspiration for that beat. Because when I heard it, I was like, that sounds familiar. I said, that is really funky. But it sounds familiar. It sounds like, I was like, okay, either Dave, I remember thinking about this. I was like, either Dave Grohl, I was like, he listens to hip hop. You know what I mean? Which was kind of, well, it wasn't rare. But it was rare for like outright rock guys. Like, it was different, man, because it was like, there was a point in time where the rock and like hip hop mix, it was trash. I never really liked it. I'm going to be honest. The only thing I ever liked was Aerosmith and Run DMC, Walk This Way. Anything after that is trash. I'm sorry, it's trash. I don't care who did it, Linkin Park, Stinkin' Park, Jay-Z, Gay-Z. I don't care. I don't like it. It's trash. I think it's horrible. I like rock over here, and I like hip-hop over there. You know, so when I heard that, I said, okay, this sounds authentic. Because it's not overtly, I'm trying to sound hip-hop. I said, but there's an authenticity in the funk. You can smell the funk radiating out of Dave's playing. That's what I'm trying to say. You could smell the funk coming out of his playing. And I can't remember, I think it was like Jungle Boogie or something from the Ohio Players. That's where he was inspired. That was the feel he was trying to get. I said, oh, now that's when you're supposed to use something to create something, to propel something greater. You know what I mean? I loved that. And I didn't know that because it kind of was like a thumbtack in my brain for literal decades. I was like, man, where did he come out? You know, because like after that, man, he was, after Nirvana, it was, his band, and it was old boy playing drums, who I knew was a beast off top when he played with Alanis Morissette on Jagged Little Pill. That's one of my wife's favorite albums. Flea's on that album too, from the Chili Peppers. All right. You know what, guys? I'm gonna say this. I don't know how old you guys are, but that's Asian doll. Yeah. You don't gotta show us. You don't gotta show us, bro. You don't gotta show us, bro. He's putting it right in the camera, showing you care. She half naked. This is crazy. Like, now, I'm a Generation Xer, but I can't say this young generation is blah, blah, blah. The difference between them and us is they have social media. I know a lot of chicks like that. I know they're just famous. Like a lot of chicks that I knew chicks like that. Now the hustle is becoming a rapper or like a groupie or like I knew chicks like that. And plus, I was in rock bands very early on. Very early on. Very early on. That's what I started out with. And then about 2 years later, I started playing in a few bands. And it was really, groupie culture was popping. It was not in a good way, but it was happening. It was always happening. Like people look at it nowadays with social media. Social media just shows us what we've been doing, what every generation does. Like it's just it's the same thing. It's like my mom, like the 60s, it was like that. You know what I mean? During her generation. Like it was like that, during the 50s when rock and roll started. Even in the 40s, there was chicks that were hanging with the jazz dudes. And, be shooting heroin. It just was. It was like that. You just get rebellious people, rebellious teens that just want to, or not even teens, just people who they want to do their thing. That's the only way I can explain it. They want to do their thing. But I don't see. I don't know. It's hard for me to be the old man. Like back in my day, back in our day, the same thing was happening. Like that's hypocritical, man. That's why with my kids, my approach is just teach them to make good decisions. But at a certain point, you're gonna have to let them go. You don't own them. Now, if you're true to what you said you were going to do, which means teach your kids, they should be a well-adjusted, young adult, prepared for whatever society has, whatever adulthood has. We ensured that she had a good support system, and because she's like me, she's an extreme introvert. But I'm fortunate because I play drums, so I'm forced to, but she's very much an introvert like me. So it was a lot of talking to a lot of my friends who have kids her age. A lot of my friends who have kids older than her that have gone through what she's going through in her first year of college. And the reason why I ask them is I look at their children. I look at their children when they're young adults. I'm like, I like this kid, or I like her. She has morals and standards. She's a good kid, you know. So I don't want to name names. So I would just pick dudes' brains. Hey, what did you do? What would you do as a family? What'd you do as, that like marriage is wild, man. Like there's date nights, there's all kinds of stuff. Um, and contrary to popular belief, there are a lot of normal, reasonable women. I see them every day. I know them. So the world isn't filled with women who are just out to, they see you as a paycheck, and then they go and hop on the next guy. That's not all women. It's not even most women. They're a loud minority. You know what I mean? Because you're saying married women are like that. You're saying elderly women are like that. You know what I mean? You're saying pregnant women are like that. Oh, well, some. But you saying all pregnant women, you know what I mean? So it's too sweeping, bro. Like that's, so it's kind of like every college girl is like that. No. Every young adult who's a young professional working in the workforce right now, are they like that? No. Mm-mm. I know some. No. And it's not really about what you can get from the man or the woman. If you're male or female, the man or woman or the man, whoever you're looking for, the spouse, your partner, your other. You got to think about what do you have to offer her. What do you have to offer her? I'll say this, man. There are a lot of things I have to offer my wife. Just wisdom and insight and patience. There are things that, and I specifically wanted to marry a woman who was college educated, and my wife has her master's and is questioning whether she should go for her doctorate. So she's highly educated. But there's certain insights that she just doesn't have because she sees things like this, and she knows this, and we complement each other in that. I'm more or less like let's work, let's move in this direction, and she'll be like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? That's the stuff I don't think about. I say, okay, you handle that. You handle all this stuff over here. I handle all this stuff over here. Anything outside, I got this. You don't worry about that. If you don't, you know what I mean? So, and even our roles have changed. It's like, now we both work from home. So, but, the woman must do this. It was like that when we first got married. For quite a while, I was the sole provider, but we wanted 4 kids and we needed more incomes. So, and my wife was ready to go back to work. So when she was pregnant with our 4th, she went and got a master's, and then she got her own business, and she feels discouraged about it, which means it's my job to encourage her because she can do it. There's a lot of lessons she learned. She still has it. She's just, should I drop it? I'm like, you got this. Trust me. You're a lot more resilient than you think you are, number 1. Number 2, now you know. You got to hire somebody to do it. Yeah, you could do it, but you don't have to do it. And it's worth the money. My wife is she's very cheap. She's very much, like, I have to buy clothes for her. I have to be like, honey, come on, let's, and I'll be like, okay, let me buy a nice pair of shoes. Here, you know what I mean? Like, I have to do that stuff for her. So, and what she was doing was, she was like, well, she needed somebody to schedule clients and what have you. She's a therapist, schedule clients and what have you. And it was just, she was like, it was like $1,500 a month, and she was like, why she's, why, but that's the I can do that. And I understand that, but I also understand that you can't. You have to. There's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much energy you have. Some stuff, give it away. It's worth the money, you know. It's paying because it's like you have more time. It's less stress. It's, you know what I mean. But and you can always make the money if it's blah 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 blah. Okay, well, schedule another client. If you really want to get your hustle on, schedule another client. So you could probably schedule like 3 more clients. Probably less than that, way less than that. You schedule one client, you paying for that in 2 weeks. But so that was a thing that my wife had to kind of learn. Like, and we were really talking this morning, and I was just like, look, that was something I couldn't tell you. I had to allow you to kind of see it because I had seen it for quite a while. But I saw it, but I couldn't really say anything about it. So then we were talking. I was like, look, I haven't seen it. I'd seen it for years, but I couldn't really tell you because you don't want to hear me. You were really, really focused or what have you. And she knew it. But I was like, you need to hire a secretary, because you're spending money, but you're not burning yourself out trying to juggle clients and doing their charting and all of that. It's too much. It's way too much, And she's like, you know what? Yeah. She was like, you're right. I said, so I know you feel the way you feel right now because you're just getting back into the normalcy of being focused on one thing. And the job she's always wanted just literally dropped right in her lap. So she has her business and she has this job, it's a great job. It's in the same field. So in doing that, I said, well, you got time now. Relax. Enjoy yourself, and keep the business thing in your mind. Keep your business going. Don't shut it down. Just keep it going to keep your skills, your counseling skills, to keep that up. You want to keep a few clients, number one. Number two, in the back of my mind, I'm like, nah. I think, because in my mind, I'm like, I know her. She'll close it down and be like, I regret doing it. If she closes it down, I'd rather, and it's cool. It's not like, oh, she's doing it all herself. No, we are doing it. So that's marriage in a nutshell. A lot of this stuff seems pointless and meaningless, and it's not. A lot of this is why I can play like this. It's my thing is I'm not trying to strain. I'm just trying to let whatever. I'm just trying to let it flow. You know what I mean? It's weird, but it's weird because I don't have any shoes on, and I don't want to put shoes on. I want my dogs to breathe. Gotta let these bunions breathe. Gotta let the bunions breathe, y'all.
There's like a crazy drum break in there. My arms are not as fast as my hands. It's kind of wild. My hands are like fluttery fast. My arms are just they try to catch up. And sometimes it's hard. What I've worked on for a while is shortening the distance between the thought and my hands. And usually it's like this. It's just just relax playing. And I say this over and over because it's true. Relax playing speeds you up. I learned that, just unfortunately from a physical rehabilitation of my elbow. A relaxed muscle is a fast muscle. So I play fast, but it's just easy to play fast because I don't put a lot of effort into it because I've kind of learned to kind of really relax, man, and not put effort into it. Just let it go. Sorry, I had to adjust the fan. There's another way you can do it. What you can do is you can just learn it. No matter, whatever the riff you're trying to learn, you can just learn it. Even that was like really relaxed. But just you can learn how to play like really fast. I don't want to start trying to tense up because I don't want to get back into it. But which is very common. Learn the movements, then clean it up later. Well, you can develop a lot of bad habits. Number one, overcommitting to whatever it is object you're trying to hit. Or you end up overdoing it. Instead of just giving it just enough, I'm still hitting it. Now, if I hit it the other way, I can break my cymbal, And you can get cymbals that are big enough, but something has to absorb the pressure. And usually it's the bone, it's the human. It affects them in their hands, it affects them in their back, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, it's, I'm going to start giving like lessons on that. Playing really relaxed. the average person, if I did it, the average person within a month. Nah, I give you 2 weeks. You'd be like, holy smokes. It would change your playing. I show people all the time. The ones that take it up, it takes about 3 weeks. They come to me within like 3 weeks. Yo, man, I'm glad you showed me that. Mhm. A lot of people do it. They just don't tell you. Some do. Some drummers do. Yeah, bro, I don't know any System of a Down. I was, doing studio work when that album came out. I was like dedicated to a lot of studio work. I didn't have time to listen and learn stuff. I mean, I like the music, I saw him on Saturday Night Live, but, you know, these are really long sticks. But they weigh, they're the same weight as these shorter sticks. And they're the same thickness. I don't know how they did it, but I'm loving them. I think I might choose these. I'm just gonna try them out. I like them though, man. I like them. I don't know if it's, but I like switching up a lot. So I don't know if it's because it feels different that I've just taught myself to like things that like change, or do they genuinely? I'm just gonna sit and play with them for a while, give them a couple days, run through. I think they gave me different sizes, not sizes, different weights, because I like them.
I'm very particular about the weight of my stick, you know.
I like how they feel, but they feel kind of clumsy sometimes. I think it's because the extra inch and it's like an inch and a quarter. About an inch. It's about an inch. So I like the feel, but they feel clumsy. You know, it's a lot. That one, it's about an inch. And it's a lot to contend with when you're used to, it's like you're used to hitting like here. Now with that inch, you're hitting here. And it extends it's just weird. So do you hold your hand back more? Or do you just learn how to adjust right there, but then that doesn't have the sound that you want? So, you know what I mean? So it's stuff that like that you got to figure out. But on the other hand, they give you room that you can really easily, there's certain things I can do, I can maneuver around and I can do because of that extra inch. Like they just like right there. As opposed to like I can hit it right there or right there, as opposed to right there or right there. You know what I mean? That's, that's nothing. That's, you know what I'm noticing, guys? I generally don't like playing with I don't like playing without shoes. It feels weird. I feel like I have naked feet. It just feels weird. But I noticed that it's just easy. Like I can distinctly feel every note. And now I'm starting to get the appeal of it. I can distinctly feel like I don't have to, I'm not like there's direct contact. I'm not dealing with a rubber sole, so. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not the only one. The extra reach, it makes a difference. Yeah, exactly, because you can. It's relaxing. Yeah. Well, don't don't feel bad about that because I do this all the time. I play like this all the time. It simply means that you're developing hand strength. There's nothing wrong if it doesn't cause an injury and you can express what you want to express. The reason why I'm saying this is you said in your statement, you're starting to like go like this. That means you're getting so relaxed that the stick is becoming not just a stick, it's becoming an extension of your arm. Don't feel ashamed of that. That it takes years for people to get there. Don't fight that. Don't fight it, bro. I'm telling you. I used to be, and I'm saying this because I hated it. That was my thinking. It's got to be the no. You know, and really, man, just developing my hands. Now I get it. Now I see guys who like are virtuosos. You look at them, they play like this. You know, sometimes I hit you with the 3-finger. You know, I'll hit you with the 3-finger and just, you know, and people are like, yo, how come you're like the stick doesn't leave your hand? The reason why is because I'm not generating enough force for the stick to fly out of my hand. And I get sandpaper and take the, what do you call it off? The shellac off. So when my hands sweat, it's, you know, it doesn't get all slippery. Unless you have there's Vic Firth, there's Zildjian, there's ProMark, there's Vader, and there's another one. Regal tip. I leave the shellac on Regal tips because they have a special shellac where once your hands start getting clammy, it like the shellac gets grippy. And it doesn't get sticky, it gets grippy. I love them. Like, and they're just like, you know, these are local. I don't want to say the name. They just give me sticks. Hey. You know, would you mind using our sticks and blah, blah, blah? And I was like, okay. And, you know, whatever. So these are all prototypes. Yeah, good form. Exactly. As long as your form is there, and for a drummer, the biggest thing is relaxation. Relax. I'm telling you, I almost lost my ability to play because I couldn't relax, man. I almost blew up my wrists and my elbows. You know, so relax. And the moment I started relaxing, this started happening. And then it started being more, I don't know, man. I just started relaxing more. Stuff just got faster and faster and faster. Like, you know, I've never played this fast, ever. These are really easy to just like maneuver around, man. I love these, man. I'm falling in love with these sticks, man. Just the extra. Now, I'm reluctant because I don't want to get so used to them. And then, like, I'm in I walk into a jam session and this guy has a pair of sticks with the standard size. And then I'm just like, That's why, like, I'll play light sticks, then I'll play heavy sticks, then I'll play light sticks, then I'll play heavy sticks. The name sounds familiar, Tommy Campbell. I'm watching my boy. Oh, man. I'm watching my boy stream. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to write that down. Tommy Campbell. I'm going to look that up, my brother. Test. There we go. wow, I could cover so much ground with just 1 extra inch. I'm not even used to it. Telling you, I love how they feel, but there's a weird. I love it. This, listen to that. Ah, nice. It's weird, man. Ah, it's all good, bro. It's all good, bro. Let wifey do her thing, bro. Yo, I do the same thing, bro. I check out other people. I'm gonna be real. I check out other people just to steal their licks. So if you see some licks here that you feel like stealing, I don't care. You're welcome. Have at them. I'll even slow stuff down. Whatever, man. Like a lot of this stuff is just like, I'm going. Or instead of doing that, I'll just simplify it so I could just stay here with the pterodactyl arms. You know, the pterodactyl. I try to keep it real pterodactyl. You know what I mean? That's serious, bro. I try to keep it pterodactyl. I try to keep it real pterodactyl. Let my fingers and my wrists do the rest. I use my wrist as arms. I use my wrist as elbows. You know, elbows, and I use my elbow as kind of like a support, or like a ball joint swivel support. I use my wrist the same way you would traditionally use your elbows. I use my fingers the same way you would traditionally use your wrists. That way, your elbows don't really do a lot of, extra work. That's not the word I was looking for. The word I'm looking for is at the tip of my brain, but I'm having a brain fart, but it is what it is. But the elbow doesn't work. The elbow doesn't really do a lot of work. It works as support, or it's for accents, Well, now I just do this. I don't even have to hit it that hard. That's 2 fingers. 2 fingers and a thumb. It's also rim shots. If you can master rim shots, you don't have to play really hard. Then you can relax. And even how I set my stuff up, it's like, rim shots, they're great for accents, you know what I mean? So really, I'm doing